to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel, where we're gonna just get started straight away with some Inkulinati, the weirdest little game ever. I actually won once on easy mode, but easy mode was already kicking my ass. And I'd just like to note, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see that we're making some serious progress on the current funding of the Inkulinati translation. I'm up to 49.34% of Chapter 1. I've already begun translating Chapter 1 since so much funding has already come in. Anyone wishing to contribute to that can become a patron or make a direct contribution using the tip command. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm waiting for my tea to finally cool off so I can drink it. Okay, rematch time. No need to fuck around with my army, because I've only got 4 of them. Okay. Have to... Okay, so I'm gonna have to deal with that archer. That archer is the biggest threat at the moment. I mean, those spears are also a problem. They still have to move a bit before it actually makes a difference. Well, for example, like now. Whee! It makes such cute little noises. Ah, how's that tea coming? Ooh. Ah, that's better. Need to wake up a little bit. It's been a busy day, busy week, really. So, let's see. No valid targets in range just now. Let's start out with Spear Guy. Spear Guy can work from home. Okay, that's one down. Okay. Oh, this is going to become very difficult now. Only got the one guy left. Oh, that helps. Because when that fire comes in, those ladders will be gone, and then don't have to worry quite so much. Also, I can get some more health here. Or I can get my ass kicked. Okay, one more go at this. Oh, well, I've got 2 quills left, so... Okay, take care of him. That simplifies things a little bit. Okay, that's another one down. Yum, yum, yum. Great sounds. There we go, and that's second to last. There we go. Hello, Phoenix. How you doing? What have we got? The drum-wielding skeleton, bow-wielding fox, or another quill. Ouch! Oh, that's bad. Okay, time for the final exam. First, I'm gonna have a cup of tea. Or a sip of tea, really. Foot videos? Oh, cool. Seems like that could be potentially fairly good low-effort content. I mean, I've never really considered... I don't really know what foot fetishists go for, but I imagine... I, I really have no idea. I'm talking out my ass. I'm doing a Caleb. Hey? Why not? God, I miss pedicures. I haven't had one since the pandemic started. That's why I always find it fascinating, the guys who get pissed off about OnlyFans. You know, they clearly just... They want to fucking get off looking at you, and they think it's somehow a liberty to be actually having to pay for the experience. Yeah, I mean, seriously, I think you should get something out of it. Sure would be interesting to ask them. Okay. Gender fluid sounds like it should be the nickname for, like, HRT injections. Okay. Oh, yeah, I can see how... I can totally see how that would possibly be a turnoff. Ah, shit. Damn, fragile ass skeleton. All excellent reasons. Really, because those fucking hair plugs always look a little bit agricultural. Like rows of failing crops. Ah, hell. Okay, there we go. That can indeed be fun. There we go. Ah, that cup of tea was a good decision. Detonation. Which beasties have we got? I was too focused on trading. Get myself into that little sweet spot there that will keep refreshing my health fairly regularly. And a little bit of plague for the spear-wielding rabbit. Okay. Yeah, no. Nothing to cause to explode just yet.
Oh.
Apocalyptic fire time. Ah, hell. One more go, and then it is time to move over to the roasting part of the experience. Last week we saw that Caleb Maupin truly thinks his viewers are the biggest fucking rubes on the planet. Who will believe him even if conclusive evidence that he's full of shit is right up on screen at the same time as he's lying. I'm thinking, I mean, it raises some interesting issues both about the Muppet and about things more generally, so I'm thinking I might actually... I've been working on a video essay on the subject. Writing down a script over coffee the past couple of days. He truly is. And his followers, wow. I mean, saying he's been censored while showing the Google results that show that he's clearly not been, that's... It's striking. That's all I can say. Okay, that's a bishop cat down. Oh shit. That was a bad idea. Ah, close. Ah, the tea has hit this Ah, the sweet spot. Exactly the right temperature to gulp. Exactly sure why you'd even bother attacking that barrel. It's not in the way of anything, really. Okay, there we go. And we also learned last week that forming political alliances to stop a war is like running a flower shop. As in, you know, the best way to run a flower shop, to get people to go and shop at your flower shop, is apparently to let them know that it's run by a bunch of white nationalists. Okay. This lighting, I need to adjust that a second before we go on. Свойства подачи видео. That's better. Okay. Take all. Ooh, we get beasts. Okay. There we go. I like the ones that throw things that explode. And check one more thing. Okay. Почню снимание. And we have a nice little lineup here of dodgy little fuckers to look at. I mean, I keep getting told that this one we've been looking at with Caleb Maupin actually just keeps getting wilder, and I'm kind of curious to see what we see if we stick with that for a bit. But then we've also got Vosh on the State of the Union, get ready to stand up and clap. Xanderhole saying on the resurgence of conservatism, which is interesting because I'm pretty sure, like, just a couple of months ago, he was talking about how the right wing had lost. Hmm. No, we already saw that. Well, then we've got the authoritarian threat is coming, talking with Marianne Williamson. Which one is that? The one about the resurgence of conservatism or whatever? Well, we've also got Rockstar says he was fired from major band for supporting Donald Trump. That is some Pim Tool. Yes. Also, I mean, clits have been known to bring pleasure. I think I'd like to continue with this one, especially because I'm like video essaying on it.
That's what this says. Do you?
Okay, here we go. So where we left this, we were making sure the crop was decent so that everything's actually visible, and that hasn't happened yet. Perfecto. So Vosh was just grabbing a single paragraph out of fairly long articles and just attacking that as if that was like the only thing going on in the article. Both of the articles he's attacked are articles that list in extreme detail just how many like white nationalists and fucking like literal and neo-Nazis and seriously questionable people are involved in organizing the fake anti-war rally that he's shilling for. There.
People, all the people who have supported this rally, the Green Party, the Libertarian Party.
Oh, well, I mean, far be it from anyone to suggest that the Libertarian Party might have any problem with racism.
All of them are secretly wearing KKK hoods.
What's secret about it? He loves to do this whenever people talk about fascism. He like will strawman them, claiming they're saying that it's being done secretly. These people are open about it. I mean, some of the organizer of this fucking rally organized the Charlottesville pogrom a few years back. They're kind of open about it. But he claims that that must be secret because then nobody will think to just go and look.
And they're secretly plotting to wipe out other races. That's what this says. Do you think that Melinda really believes this?
I have no reason to doubt that she really believes this. And, I mean, she gives every reason for other people to really believe it. I mean, again, this is just an example of how much of a rube Caleb Maupin thinks you are if you buy into him. Because this sentence starts out with however. Its true purpose, however. That means there was a paragraph before this. And this is contrasting with something in that paragraph. So why aren't you showing us that paragraph, Caleb?
Really believes that this rally is some kind of neo-Nazi conspiracy.
It's not a conspiracy, it's out in the open. The Nazis are like, they actually are billed as speakers.
Intended to strengthen the grip of an openly fascist white supremacist movement. Do you?
Yeah, no, I don't. It's not secret. As she says, it's an openly fascist movement. She says right there, it's not secret. Where the fuck does he get secret
really
from?
Think Melinda believes this? I don't.
Well, it's worth noting he seems to actually know Melinda. There's reason to believe that they were together at one point in the Workers' World Party. And Melinda is the one that he keeps on very obviously, deliberately misgendering throughout this thing.
I know this person. They're not...
Oh, there we go. Even more.
Stupid. I knew this person. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. They're not this stupid. They're not. They're just lying.
So that's like 3 pronouns he's gone through. First, he kept on saying he, oh, she, I'm sorry. And now he's just switched over to they and this person. And just for anyone who didn't see last week's, who's watching this now, either live or on the archive, she is a trans woman. Melinda Butterfield, the author of this piece, is a trans woman of his acquaintance, as he just said. And he has been misgendering her like every single time he has occasion to use pronouns to refer to her.
This is their job. It's a gig. It's something they've been assigned to do by satanic evil forces.
Wait a second, you're like acting like it's so out there that there might be anything racist about a rally organized by open white nationalists? And you're saying the more plausible thing is that Melinda Butterfield is enthralled to satanic evil forces? Like, what the fuck is this? What kind of... This just the materialism in here is overwhelming right now. I mean, God, this is the most dialectically materialist thing I've ever seen. Satanic evil forces that probably get together to conspire at... They get together to conspire at...
Burger King.
That's the case.
I mean, and what I love about this is the last thing of his we watched, he ends with this thing, why can't we all just be nice to each other? Why can't we all just get along with each other and love our neighbors? And here he is, deliberately misgendering her, and saying she's enthralled to satanic evil forces.
That's the reality of the situation. We have to break with the synthetic left.
The synthetic left has grown substantially. Just in this video alone. It used to be the synthetic left was like any kind of mostly like non-ML leftist, Trotskyist, anarchist, anarcho-communist, left comms. Oh, you name it. And now you have, like, Melinda Butterfield is associated with the Answer Coalition, who are, like, organizing a march to commemorate the failure of the 2003 anti-war movement, though they don't call it that, because they don't acknowledge it's a failure because they haven't actually learned anything. I'm not standing the Answer Coalition, but Melinda Butterfield's article makes a good point.
We have to break with the synthetic left. Out of the movement to the masses. Out of the movement to the masses. Out of the movement to the masses.
This is very coherent, I'm sure.
Out of the movement to the masses.
So out of the movement to the masses, then? That's the kind of feeling I'm getting from you right now.
Out of the movement to the masses. Out of the movement to the masses. Out of the movement.
How many
to
times
the masses. Out of the movement.
What
to
the fuck?
The masses. Out of the movement to the masses. Out of the movement to the masses.
You finished, dude?
Out of the movement to the masses.
Apparently
out
not.
Of the movement to the masses. Out of the movement to the masses. Out of the movement to the masses. Out of the movement to the masses. You know, there's that Lenin quote I always read to you all.
God, is it out of the movement to the masses? Which works a lot better in Russian, where there are declensions and things, than it does in English. You kind of need verbs for it really to work well in English.
That Lenin quote that I always read to you all. I'm going to see if I think I have a graphic of it I can pull up, because it's so gosh darn important.
I think everybody knows the fucking quote at this point, although we're not talking about the masses right now. We're talking about a bunch of white nationalists. The Libertarian Party can be accused of many things. It cannot be accused of having a mass base.
It is so important. It is so important.
No, nobody needs to be giving him any kind of shit, any kind of kicks in the butt or anything like that. He likes that shit.
Important. And if I can just pull up a screenshot of it, maybe not. Maybe not, but let me see. I'm trying to dig through files here to see about where I have stuff.
He didn't. This is a video that he uploaded. He could have edited this out.
I have this Lenin quote. Do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have it? Do I have the Lenin quote? I don't have the Lenin quote.
Well, that's just as well, since you're fucking allying yourself with the Libertarian Party. I don't think they like Lenin very much the last time I heard.
What a shame. So I'm just going to have to read it to you all. Just going to have to read it to you all.
Just gonna have to read it to you all. Just gonna have to read it to you all.
I won't be able to put it on the screen, but I've read it to you all again, and I will read it to you once more. There's a really important essay by Vladimir Lenin, and it's about
Oh, that Lenin.
how, when World War I broke out, all these socialist groups that claimed to be so revolutionary supported World War I.
Yeah, and they allied, and the thing is, they allied themselves with capital, which is exactly what he is trying to get people to do here. I mean, the operating principle here, it's not that Caleb Maupin will not ally with anyone. He will ally with anyone except people who will refuse to ally themselves with Nazis.
It's called Imperialism and the Split in Socialism. It's 10 pages. It's not that long. You should read it. And at the very end of the essay, I've quoted it to you all a million times.
He's disappointed in us because he isn't hearing us raise our hands and answering out loud.
But I will quote it for you once more. Lenin writes, "Neither we nor anyone else..."
Is he going to read us the entire fucking 10-page thing? I mean, he just abbreviated both of these articles he's been shitting on down to a single paragraph, eliminating every single significant part of the article, just because they would make it much harder for him to argue, to discredit them. Is he gonna read this entire fucking essay by Lenin now?
Can calculate precisely what portion of the proletariat is following and will follow the social chauvinists and opportunists.
Oh, Caleb, just out of curiosity, just a little comprehension check here. The social chauvinists and opportunists, who do you think they are? Who do you think the social chauvinists and opportunists are? You think they might be the people that you're... He's talking about you, actually.
This will be revealed only by the struggle, and it will definitely be decided only by the socialist revolution. But we know for certain that the defenders of...
I don't know. I don't think we have to wait till the socialist revolution to know what side this dickhead's on. Yeah, he does. He is like cringe personified.
The fatherland and imperialist war represent only a minority. And it is therefore our duty, if we wish to remain socialists, to go down lower and deeper to the real masses. This is the whole...
Okay, and so how does that fit in with just going to just ally yourself with the far right?
Meaning and the whole purport of the struggle against opportunism, by exposing the fact that the opportunists and social chauvinists are in reality betraying and selling the interests of the masses.
Okay, do you even know what opportunist means? Opportunists are people who have absolutely no... I mean, I'm not here to stand Lenin, but when you're talking about opportunists, you're talking about people who have absolutely no fucking principled reason for who they work with or why or what they're willing to do about it. And, I mean... The only reason that doesn't apply to Caleb Maupin is that he has principles that guide what he does, but he is dishonest about them and will not admit them because he's fundamentally a really cowardly sod.
That they are defending the temporary privileges of a minority of workers. That they are...
What? Okay, you mean sort of like white nationalists are doing when they defend the privileges of the minority of the working class who are white guys? Straight white guys?
a vehicle for bourgeois idea and influences, and that they are really allies and agents of the bourgeoisie.
You mean like the fucking libertarian? I mean, they are like openly. That isn't even something that you have to expose the fucking Libertarian Party as. That's exactly what they are. I mean, they even the appropriation of the word libertarian came from a real estate lobbyist, a lobbyist of the property industry, the industry that today is making it impossible to pay the rent in any city in the country. That's who is behind. That is the kind of people who are behind the Libertarian Party. I mean, you're talking about he doesn't know what. Does he not know what this stuff means, or is he try? Is this another selection thing, where the idea is if you know what this means and you look at what he's trying to advocate, relying on this quote, then you just laugh your ass off because it's like saying the exact opposite of the thing that he's trying to get you to do. Or does he really not understand?
We teach the masses to appreciate their true political interests and to fight for socialism and for the revolution through all the long and painful vicissitudes of imperialist wars and imperialist armistices. The only Marxist line in the world labor movement is to explain to the masses the inevitability and necessity of breaking with opportunism.
And what exactly does this have to do with what you're advocating here, Caleb? I mean, apart from being literally the opposite of what you've been talking about for 22 minutes in this video so far.
To educate them for revolution by waging relentless struggle against opportunism, and to utilize the war to expose the utter vileness of national liberal labor politics.
Again, literally the people that he is talking, that he's trying to defend working with.
When the imperialists are starting a war, we show the masses. We use the war to show the masses who their friends and enemies are.
Well, I mean, this is certainly a roundabout way of doing that.
And do you know why? And do you know why it is right now that the Democrats are more in favor of this war than the Republicans? Do you know why it is that this rally is being called fascist and Nazi by all the left forces?
Well, maybe if you looked at those articles that you didn't want to show us, you would actually see why people are calling it. It's because there are literal neo-Nazis organizing the rally. Literal neo-Nazis. People who were involved in organizing the Charlottesville pogrom. People who've taken photo ops with the founder of fucking Stormfront. Maybe that's why people are calling it. Maybe they're calling it that because it is that thing.
Claim to be anti-war. It's a class difference.
Well, that's an interesting statement because it is by accident quite true. Because the thing is, the people at this rally he's defending, like the fucking libertarian, that is not a proletarian party by any stretch of the imagination. That is fucking rich-ass real estate bros and tech bros and fucking Bitcoin, people who've got money to just burn on fucking Bitcoin and, you know, mining GPUs and all this shit. That's what the Libertarian Party is. People who actually have the money to travel around to find the lowest age of consent, because that's a preoccupation of the Libertarian Party. I mean, in what fucking universe could you make an argument that the Libertarian Party is in demographics or just in terms of their program any kind of working class party?
That's really what it really gets down to.
It does, and you're on the wrong side of it, Caleb, as usual.
It's a class difference.
Yep.
Because this war isn't going to be fought by Melinda Butterfield.
It's not going to be fought by fucking Ron Paul either.
This war isn't going to be fought by Melinda Butterfield's kids. This war is not going to be fought by Joe Lombardo. It's not going to be fought by Brian Becker.
Yeah.
It's not going to be fought by Sarah Flounders. This war is going to be fought by working class people.
And what the fuck does the Libertarian Party have to do with any of that? What the fuck does Ron Paul have to do with any of that? What the fuck does Matthew Heimbach have to do with any of it? If these motherfuckers had a working class base, I mean, we wouldn't. I mean, the past few years that, you know, part of the reason Heimbach's fucking traditionalist workers' party fell apart was they kept on trying to go to, like, fucking red state America. They thought they would totally have the masses rallying to them, and everywhere they went, it was just this pathetic group of 30 Nazis from out of town. You know, if they managed to get their entire numbers to show, and then the entire town would show up to tell them to piss off. These people have no mass base, and they are not working. I mean, it is like, who is this for? Who looks at this? I mean, I just don't see how you could possibly. Who is this supposed to appeal to? Because anyone who is looking, who cares about, who is convinced by Lenin quotes, is not going to be impressed with this lineup. Which is probably why he's avoided defending the lineup. He has, like, assiduously avoided naming a single person involved. Apart from people who, I mean, would fall under the definition of the opportunist. Dickheads like fucking Chris Hedges.
It's going to be fought by black young men from Louisiana.
Yeah, who famously love the Libertarian Party and Matthew Heimbach and Ron Paul. Ron Paul, the guy with the fucking newsletter, who, like, every single, where there was, like, every single issue of it was just making up some new reason that black people were scary and you needed to shoot them and shit. I mean, just openly white supremacist stuff. The guy who, like, just shat all over Martin Luther King in one of his things, called him a pro-communist philanderer. And then, like Caleb, was such a coward that when he seemed to have some sort of a bit of a progressive base forming as an anti-war candidate about, like, a decade ago, he started to pretend he didn't know who wrote those newsletters. But in his campaign, one of his Texas senatorial campaigns in the mid-90s, he said, yeah, they were mine. He openly said that he wrote them.
It's going to be fought by Latino folks and Chicano brothers and sisters from.
Yeah, again, so all of the people that these people that you who are called this rally want to exterminate or subjugate or just expel.
New Mexico and Arizona. It's going to be fought by low-income white workers from Kansas and Pennsylvania.
Actually, I mean, the war at the moment is being fought by working class Ukrainians and Russians. I mean, the contribution of the U.S. working class so far has been largely the sector of the working class that is paid extraordinarily well, I should note, to build the weapons that are being sent over there. I mean, to the extent that the working class in this country is... this war is happening at the extent of the working class in this country. It's not because they're fighting it. It's because money that could be used to do things here is going towards prolonging it. Urban... yeah, I could see him calling them urban youth.
It's going to be fought by...
Wait a second. Did the sound go off, or is that me?
Parks in Alabama. Young men from Louisiana. It's going to be fought by Latino folks.
Weird, I've lost sound.
Folks and Chicano brothers and sisters from New Mexico and Arizona.
What happened? Did I mute this by accident? No. Okay, let's reconnect. I think this is my headphones at fault. Okay, my computer is acting a little bit weird now all of a sudden. This is strange. I've turned Bluetooth on, and yet it still says Bluetooth is turned off. Yeah, this is not good. This is very much not good. What the hell's going on with Bluetooth? Hang on a second, please. Okay. I have a plug-in Bluetooth adapter, and hopefully having unplugged it and plugged it back in, things will work again. Okay, there we go. That's what we needed. And let me just make sure Audioausgabe podrazumewano. Ne. Tak. Tak.
Black young men from Louisiana. It's going to be fought by Latino folks and Chicano brothers and sisters from New Mexico and Arizona.
I mean, considering that BreadTube doesn't actually really exist as a thing, it's just a Reddit thread. I mean, I guess you can sort of include Vosh, even though, like, literally everybody else who would normally be considered to be BreadTube holds him in just total contempt, and it's mutual, but I mean, I don't really see any particular advantage there to just redefining it to include people who, I mean, first of all, to just pretending that it's some sort of an organization, and then redefining it in a way that just doesn't really make sense given the kind of group dynamics there are on leftist and, in the case of Vosh, far-right YouTube.
Arizona. It's going to be fought by low-income white workers from Kansas and Pennsylvania. It's going to be fought.
It's already being fought. This is so weird. He's talking about this like it's going... First of all, the whole point of a proxy war is that actually the US is trying to avoid a direct war as well. Because the US knows what I mean, people in Washington also know what happens when you actually engage directly with somebody who also has weapons of mass destruction, also has a reasonable sized military. It doesn't end well. I mean, even though the US would be in a position that they'd probably end up with the upper hand, but it wouldn't be a fucking walkover. And the only kind of war the US is interested in fighting is one they think will be a walkover.
By low-income folks grew up in trailer parks in Alabama. Those folks want to actually stop this war.
And what the hell does this have to do with the fucking neo-Nazis at the rally you're standing?
Among the military, anti-war sentiments are higher than ever.
Citation
It's the
needed.
working class that actually wants to stop this war.
Then why not ally yourself with them? Like, I mean, you have to keep in mind that this is all an argument for why he should go to why people should support a fake anti-war rally called by Republicans, fucking, the Libertarian Party, and literal neo-Nazis.
And this war, World War III, that is hanging over our heads, is being fought to defend the temporary privileges of rich kids.
You mean the base of the Libertarian Party?
In Williamsburg. It is
okay. That is an interesting Williamsburg. For anyone who who is unfamiliar with New York, because that's the Williamsburg he's almost certainly talking. He's not talking about fucking Colonial Williamsburg. He's talking about Williamsburg in Queens. I believe it's in Queens. Let me just make absolutely sure I got that right. And Brooklyn. It's in Brooklyn. And it is a heavily, really hardcore Hasidic neighborhood. And the thing about the Hasidic community, they're not rich. In fact, they are notoriously fucking poor as shit. They are, I mean, for one thing, because keeping all of the Jewish traditions, keeping all of the mitzvahs is expensive. And just about everything to do with the religion is expensive. Because it is just, it is just dominated by people who don't even acknowledge that working class Jews exist. The people, the reason he brings up Williamsburg is it is Jews. They're not rich. They are living, actually, their living standard is actually quite low. Because the Hasidic community, for all sorts of reasons, is poor. Both because the traditions are expensive, because they are very restricted in what kind of work they can get, because for the most part they do not have more than high school diplomas, and that already makes them kind of unemployable in a lot of fields. And a lot of them have less than that because they go straight to yeshiva. So, like, basically the only job they're qualified for is potentially rabbi, but you only need so many of them. Specifically Hasidic rabbis, because there are not that many of them. So it is totally mask off that this motherfucker is talking about Williamsburg. Like, those are the rich people fucking pulling the strings of this. That's broke Hasidic Jews.
Is being fought to defend the temporary privileges of gentrifiers.
Let me just
fought to defend the temporary privileges of gentrifiers in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's being fought to defend the temporary privileges.
Thought Slime's actually Canadian. And yeah, I mean, if you put in search results, you get bullshit things in YouTube. I mean, that's just kind of how YouTube search works. It's not very good. I mean, but he's not Chinese, he's Canadian. And last I checked, he actually opposes genocide. I haven't heard him actually speak in favor of one.
Wealthy suburbs that surround Detroit. Grosse Pointe. It's being fought to defend the privileges, the temporary privileges of the laptop class.
There is no such thing as the laptop class. You don't get to, like, claim to be some sort of Marxist intellectual who is offering class analysis and say shit like that. Because these days, a lot of the working class, particularly in the U.S. and Europe, because it's all switched over. It's deindustrialized to a great extent. It's switched over largely to service industry. So yeah, much of the working class works on fucking laptops. They aren't like a class in themselves.
It's being fought to defend the temporary privileges of middle class, college educated, Ivy League pieces of shit.
Then why? I mean, you're describing the Libertarian Party, and I'm just trying to understand how these two things come together. Oh, well, I mean, the Chinese government's own fucking... If you look at Xinhua... First of all, I wouldn't say he pushes much of anything on it. He's never done anything on the subject. He's, like, very briefly mentioned it. And if you look at... I mean, Bad Empanada, actually... I mean, I'm very ambivalent about him. But he did a really good video looking at China's own state media's description of what they're doing in Xinjiang. And China's own fucking state media very clearly states that they're doing, at the very least, cultural genocide there. I mean, they explicitly say that the idea is to force an ethnic minority in their historical homeland to culturally assimilate, and that they're using coercive means to do that. That is explicitly what you see in Xinhua. That's what you see actually on English language CCTV. They're actually quite explicit about it. So, I mean, you don't need to rely on dodgy people like the fucking, Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation. You can just look at Chinese media. They're very clear about what they're doing, and all you need to do, and what the Chinese state media itself has to say about it already isn't good. I mean, Thought Slime has maybe mentioned the subject possibly twice, if I remember correctly, and we're talking about maybe a grand total of 2 or 3 minutes. So I don't know that I would say pushing it.
That's who it's being fought to defend. It is being fought to defend the temporary privileges.
I wonder if there's a capitalist class in Russia that might also be benefiting from this.
Of the cosmopolitan middle class.
God, how many fucking dog whistles is he going to use? He already used Williamsburg, which is, like, famously a very Jewish, like, one of the leading Yiddish-speaking areas in the world level Jewish neighborhood in Brooklyn. And it's worth noting, I don't know if he still lives there now, but he lived in Brooklyn, at least the last time I saw, which means he certainly knows what he means when he's talking about Williamsburg. Now, cosmopolitan, too? Cosmopolitan, like, he's not even trying anymore.
The laptop class. The people who've never had a relative go to prison. People who don't have a single relative in the U.S. Armed Forces. That's who it's being fought to protect. It's being fought. The escalation with Russia.
What does this have to do with allying yourself with the far right in a fake anti-war... I mean, surely it would be worthwhile to consider... I mean, I know Lenin said something about this, and he was just quoting Lenin, but there's a reason that capitalism always leads to wars like this. And so, right-wing, explicitly pro-capitalist forces can never truly be anti-war, because they want to maintain the system. They want to maintain the system that ensures that those wars will happen.
The threat of a new war against China is being waged in defense of people from Beverly Hills. And they can pretend to be socialists all day long. They can pretend to be revolutionaries. They can put on Che Guevara hats. But
yeah, could you at least pronounce his fucking name right? Guevara, weón. Se pronuncia Che Guevara. No es tan difícil, weón. Pelotudo.
when the rubber meets the road, they support the FBI. They support the Pentagon. They support tech censorship. They support...
I mean, this is like, he didn't used to do this. He used to actually be fairly, low-key with his hands. And all of a sudden, I haven't seen this until this video, he is using gestures that, were very characteristic of Hitler's speeches, amongst others.
silencing people. They support lockdowns.
You supported lockdowns until, like, 5 minutes ago. I mean, that's fascinating, because he did a whole thing. It was in his video where he was explaining how he doesn't know what degrowth is. And I don't remember how he got onto the subject, but he starts talking about how the U.S., he says quite correctly, the U.S. is the COVID capital of the world. It's an absolute disaster. And points out and praises China's policies, which had quite effectively kept the number of cases, that kept the spread at bay for an extended period of time. And he praised all that. But now he's allying himself with the literal far-right assholes, the ones who were the public face of the anti-mask movement before Joe Biden made anti-masking a thing that liberals did too.
Because in their minds, they are more afraid of the rabble.
Yeah, like fucking Republican senators and Chris Hedges. God, yeah. I mean, yeah, when you see Chris Hedges coming down the street, you just want to clutch your purse just to make sure. Like, what the... These aren't this is the Libertarian Party. They're not the fucking rebel. They are literally the people you're describing here.
They are more afraid of the rabble. They are more afraid of the black folks in Oakland.
You think that maybe the people who called that rally you're defending might also be a little bit afraid of them? I mean, they are out white nationalists.
They're more afraid of the black folks in Louisiana and Alabama and Mississippi. They are more afraid of the low-income white...
Yeah, you could you could certainly make the argument. But I have to say, I mean, it's sort of weird to say that the, 2 or 3 minutes total that, of asides that Thought Slime has dedicated to just sort of mentioning what's going on in Xinjiang, counts as pushing it. I mean, it's not even... The fact is, if we're serious, the real criticism that could be made... No, well, I haven't actually seen what Chomsky has to say on the subject, but I mean, according to China, what they're doing is cultural genocide. They don't call it that, they just give the exact description that fits that definition. I mean, that is China's own state media, their English language state media. Yeah, they say explicitly that what they're doing. There's a really good video where Bad Empanada actually goes through Chinese state media to look at how they're portraying it, and points this out in detail. It was an excellent video. It's also just one of the best things I've seen on here. This is why it pisses me off so much that he's so full of shit on so many other things, because that was one of the best videos I've seen on, critical analysis of sources of any kind of leftist sort of YouTuber, and he does a really good job of it. And what you see when you look at the Chinese official sources, I mean, this isn't stuff you had to dig up, this is just, their headlines. They explicitly say what they're doing is trying to force a national minority to adopt the dominant culture in their historic homeland, and they're using coercion in order to do it in various ways. They're very explicit about that. That's cultural genocide. That is, the definition of cultural genocide. Oh, well, okay. Actually, Bad Empanada very explicitly called it cultural genocide. He said it wasn't a physical genocide, but he said at the very least what they're admitting to is cultural genocide. He did explicitly say that. I mean, if he hadn't said that, then you would be right, but he did very specifically say, but he made it clear that what he was talking about was cultural genocide. Yes, but when that is done to an ethnic minority in their national homeland in order to get them to stop using their language and conform to the dominant culture which is not their own, there's a term for that. And Bad Empanada also used it. And I mean, I don't think it's pushing xenophobia either to say that we could just look at what China's own media has to say about this. I mean, this isn't a focus of mine either. I've probably talked about it just now more than I've ever talked about it, and probably about twice as much as Thought Slime has ever talked about it, because I believe in focusing on the atrocities being committed by the state, for which I bear some level of responsibility, which would be, in this case, the U.S. They're the ones that who depend on the acquiescence of people like me for their governability. So that's who I focus on. But I mean, I have no reason to doubt when the Chinese state media, when Xinhua and CCTV and the rest of them, just openly say what they're doing, and it's already bad. I see no reason to doubt that it's at least as bad as that they're saying. But we're talking about something else right now, so let's just finish this video.
White workers in Oklahoma. They're more afraid of the working people of Kansas and Montana than they are of World War.
This has nothing to do with any about what he's. I mean, if you walked in here, you would not realize he is defending the idea of allying himself with literal neo-Nazis.
That's what they're afraid of. That is what they are afraid of.
It's not siding with Western states to say what China's self-description of what they're doing to Uyghurs in Xinjiang is probably roughly accurate. Because their description is already bad. That's not the same thing as saying that everything that Adrian Zenz says is accurate. I mean, he's dodgy as hell. But certainly, I mean, I don't think that just sort of allowing bullshit narratives to go without any completely unchecked is a good thing either. I agree on not siding. Well, no, not just Nazbols. I mean, he is very clearly moving over into just outright fascist territory. He's very much associated these days with the LaRouchites, and here he is trying to cozy up to Matthew Heimbach and the fucking Libertarian Party and various just literal neo-Nazis. He is moving out of just straight up Nazbol territory and where there's some sort of euphemism going on, and moving straight into just straight up fast shit.
And they get woke points for claiming they care about black people. They get woke points for claiming they care about Chicano people, but they don't care about them.
Where do we redeem these woke points? Like, what the fuck are woke points here? Where do I redeem them? What do I get for them? Do I get a donut?
They absolutely make no apologies about hating low-income white people.
That is, see, this is a popular myth. This is actually a very popular myth that is perpetuated by, like, dominant media in the U.S. That the white supremacism, that the transphobia, that all that shit is coming from poor white people, or poor people generally. It's bullshit. It is coming very much from above.
Yeah.
Well, this is straight out of the CIA playbook on how to disrupt organizing. The CIA playbook on how to disrupt organizing efforts was about how to disrupt organizing efforts without appearing to do it. I don't think the people who are objecting to this fascist rally that he's trying to present as an anti-war rally, which it isn't, are being coy about the desire to see this thing undermined and preferably not happen at all. I mean, I'm comfortable saying anytime I see fascists organizing, I want to disrupt it. I want to see them just see the whole thing fail.
Now it's all about how much they hate low-income white people.
Who do you think? Again, who's the base of the That's not the base of the fucking Libertarian Party.
That's what it's all about, right? They hate low-income white people. They're very open about that. And they actually hate low-income black people. And they hate Chicano people, too. They're just not as open about it.
As opposed to the people you're trying... I mean, leaving that aside, even granting that the people that you're sitting here advocating for want to create a white ethno-state.
And the reason that they hate low-income black people, and they hate...
See, he hasn't... I love how he does this. This is one of the wonderful things about the way that Caleb Maupin's variety show works. He will make an assertion like that out of fucking nowhere. This is not what this video was about. It was about a Nazi rally that he thinks is a good thing and that he supports. But so then he gets into this thing about how, you know, this is proof that leftists hate poor people and black people and whatever. And it isn't, I mean, and obviously this isn't about the racism that does certainly exist in the left and transphobia and the other shit. Because he doesn't give a shit about that. If he gave a shit about that, he would not be allying himself with fucking Matt Heimbach and Ron Paul and Stormfront and fucking all the rest of the pricks that are going to be, you know, that are participating in that fucking rally.
Low-income Chicano people, and they hate low-income white people, is because they consider themselves to be superior. They went to NYU and Harvard and Yale, and they learned all the right woke buzz phrases. They learned...
I mean, this is just such another right-wing talking point, this idea that people learn not to be bigoted from university. I mean, just the sheer number of just bigoted, reactionary, asshole professors you get when you go to any university.
And how to be politically correct and talk about white gender privilege and mansplaining and...
Oh, and look, he's doing a fucking gay voice too. He got the transphobia, and now he's got the homophobia. I mean, this is remarkable.
And intersectionality, and that's what it means to be a leftist. You go to a fancy, expensive university, run up all kinds of debts that you...
He's been on this ever since Thought Slime called him out for platforming a fucking turf.
You can turn your nose up and say, I am so much better than you. Oh my God, you're racist. You're racist. That's what...
Jesus Christ. I mean, this is just him like doing a gay stereotype.
You're... Oh, I'm so tired of your white man splaining. That's all it means to be a leftist. And most of those...
Now do the guys that whose rally you're defending here, you do your impression of them.
Folks blatantly support arming the Nazis in Kiev.
The people whose articles he mentioned while not giving any serious examination of in this video, all have written extensively on their opposition to the U.S. arming Ukraine. Like, Jacqueline Lookman in Black Agenda Report and Melinda Butterfield, both of them have written extensively opposing U.S. arms shipments to Ukraine. I mean, there is simply no way that you can seriously claim that is why they're opposing this rally. In fact, Melinda Butterfield plugs at the bottom of her article another rally, and I mean, and it's Answer, and I have to say, I mean, at least with Answer, the main criticism is they're totally fucking ineffectual. They achieve nothing. Because all they ever do is AB marches, and AB marches don't do shit.
Most of those folks blatantly support a new war against China. Most of those folks.
Could you give us a quote? I mean, you've named two people here. Jacqueline Lookman and Melinda Butterfield. Let's see what they wrote about supporting war against China, maybe.
Are pretty clear about wanting to violently overthrow the government of Iran.
Oh, okay. That's another thing. Okay, let's see what Melinda Butterfield said in support of overthrowing the government of Iran.
And there's a small faction among them who pretend to be anti-imperialist. The PSL, Black Agenda Report, people like that. They pretend to be anti-imperialist.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of it at Black Agenda Report. I mean, to the extent that when there was the whole fucking Russiagate panic and everything, and all these lists started, of like supposedly Russian propaganda sources, and it was like 90% of it was just websites with coverage and analysis that opposed U.S. foreign policy. And Black Agenda Report was listed as one of these like Russian influence operations. Because one thing they have been very consistent on is opposing U.S. imperialism, and they've been doing it for quite a long time.
But they are way more afraid of the working class than they are of these wars. They would much rather have World War III than have the working class in motion. They hate the workers. They hate the workers.
Maybe they do, but that's nothing to do with what we're talking about. You think the Libertarian Party is the fucking proletariat? I mean, that is just so fucking Caleb Maupin.
That's what they hate. They hate the working class.
If by working class you mean the Libertarian Party and assorted white nationalists, yeah. Yeah, it's neat how you could just accuse people of things by redefining words.
They are terrified of the working class. They hate the working class.
Is he going to repeat himself again? Is he going to go in one of those loops?
Folks,
somebody hit Control-C.
There's an expression that I heard many years ago.
Out of the movement, into the masses.
That expression is, it's the only working class we've got.
Yeah, that's it. The funny thing is that it's in a roundabout way, if you, with a judicious use of inverted commas, it's kind of true. The fucking, like, far-right paleocon Republicans, the Libertarian Party, and assorted white nationalists are the closest thing to a working class that he has.
If you're a socialist, if you're a Marxist or a revolutionary, it's with the people. It's with the people. It's with the people that you must organize. Thank you, Gala. Writing it down.
He writes down his fucking super chats. He still does that.
This rally. Great test, I think, as Gala is putting it.
Yeah, it really is, and you came out exactly the way I would have expected you to, Caleb.
Now, who's really anti-war, and who's not?
And who just wants to organize with fascists and will use any excuse.
And there are a lot of forces that pretend to be anti-war.
Mm-hmm.
And when in reality, they are not.
Yeah, this is true.
They are not anti-war.
They are not. Okay.
Donald.
that's it for tonight. Let me just say, if you have enjoyed the stream as much as I have, please consider paying for the stream, which you can do by using the tip command, !tip. Any tips will be going to my current crowdfunded translation project, which is Chapter 1 of Alexandra Kalantai's Social Basis of the Female Question. I have had really good success so far fundraising to get this thing done, and I've already got the introduction translated. That is up as a draft translation on in PDF format on my Patreon, which I'm linking to in the chat. And right now I'm working on translating and finishing raising the funds for Chapter 1 of the book. It's 16,000 odd words. I'm looking to raise a total of $1,629.40 to cover the cost of translating it. And I'm nearly halfway there. I'm 49.34%. Yeah, there was like an actual anti-war rally. Answer Coalition did one. Melinda Butterfield advertised it in the article he was shitting on. And there's going to be one like commemorating the anniversary of the failure of the 2003 anti-war movement. Though they don't call it that because it gives the game away. But anyway, it is time for me to wrap it up for tonight. I will be back tomorrow, same time, 11:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. And I hope to see you all there.